around, don't disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started, it's the hardest. Talk around, don't disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, and this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah, back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, the hottest part of the ring. Yeah, because we're talking about a British wrestling promotion skipping across the pond. Yeah, I would turn this podcast off at this point too if I was a listener, but I'm here, I'm queer, and we are here to talk about some queer stuff. I mean, there's a good amount of queerness on the show. Not that there's anything wrong with that, although I think the aggressive use of sex toys, condoms, and gimps on Progress Chapter 23 are a bit egregious, but we get into that, so to speak. I'm shot out of a cannon because I'm just so excited to talk to you guys about some Progress Wrestling Chapter 23. First of all, if you're just hopping in, you're like, hardest part of the ring, I just don't give a turkey about Progress Wrestling. Well, I'm here to tell you that you have a tiny cock, so just kidding, it's nice and girthy. But hey, if you want to learn about it, I mean, look, you're listening to this episode. I'm not a Progress expert. I'm learning. I'm watching stuff for the first time, and you're listening to it for the first time, perhaps. If you're that kind of person, you want to start from the beginning. You want all the context to what we're talking about today. Not that you necessarily need it for this episode, but if you want to hop along the journey with us, go to apronbump.com. Go to the episodes tab, and you can select any promotion era of wrestling that you would like to journey along with me. And you can select Progress Wrestling, and that'll bring you to all of my Progress Wrestling reviews. I started from Chapter 1 and have worked my way chronologically up until now, Chapter 23. And Chapter 23 is a good one, man. As with this era, pretty consistently great. Great shows here, great wrestling. Interesting storylines. We got the furthering of a new crop of heels. Chapters like 10 through 20 were pretty much all centered around Jimmy Havoc. But again, not on this show, but the company is definitely making strides towards building new heels. And I think they did some pretty effective things on this show. The Progress Championship, of course, on the line. You got the champion, Will Ospreay, defending against Mark Andrews. Last chapter, Chapter 22, ended with Mark Andrews returning because he's been on excursion in TNA for a bit. Has come back and has challenged Will Ospreay for the Progress Championship because these two lads have had two previous matches in Progress, and Mark Andrews has beaten old Billy Boy both times. So naturally, he's like, look, till you beat me, you ain't the real champ, bruv. Solid story, great match. All across the board, great matches. Well, for the most part. Lots of chicanery there in the Natural Progression series, but we'll get into that. And what else is there to talk about? But listen to a lot of Junior lately. You know, Blink 182's and the Noobs, how they got back together. They're going back on tour. I don't know. I'm kind of set with Junior, which is Mark Andrews' band. Go check them out. Have been really bopping my nutsack to them. But no Junior on this show. Just Brett from the Brainbuster Boys podcast. We have a good old time talking about some European wrestling. A couple of Americans just plodding our way through trying to figure all of this British office humor out of you. By the way, we should say this out front. First of all, let me plug Brett, so I can throw the blame on him. Go follow the Brainbuster Boys on Twitter at Brainbuster Boys. All their socials in the description below. They do an awesome podcast. They talk about wrestling. They talk about sports. They get into it all, man. They get in a lot of new, like Japanese wrestling, indie wrestling, WWE, AEW. Whatever really fancies them at the moment they talk about. And they're really, Brett and his co-host Bo, they do a great job over there. So go check them out wherever you listen to podcasts. And yeah, man. Great guy, great folks over there. Really entertaining show. Now, me and Brett have a good old time on this episode. I just want to point out that I am Asian. So any comments that are made not against the Asians, about the Asians on this episode, I gave the green light, the yellow light, some may say. Am I just making it worse? Who else do we disparage? Asians, bald people. If you're bald and you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Who else? You're British people in general. It's all in good fun, okay? Please don't hate us. I mean, you can hate Brett. Who gives a fuck? But you know me. I'm a good guy, right? So with that being said, does that set the table nice? Let's just get right into it, shall we? Progress Chapter 23 with myself and Brett from the Brainbuster Boys podcast. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
I think that should work. Wait, what you drinking over there?
It's just a fucking Red Bull strawberry apricot.
Oh, shit. This guy's
My
getting
roommate
licked.
works for a company that, like, basically does all of Kroger's shelving, like, in all stores across the country, and he is over, like, energy drinks and Gatorade and things of that sort, so we just get like a shitload sent to our house. So we've been hooked up on the energy drinks
Look
lately.
at you.
Yeah,
bragging.
it's been good.
Hey, man, there's worse things.
And he was on chips or bagged snacks, I guess it was, like all through COVID. So like we had so much fucking free chips, it was insane.
So is that a
Which
promotion?
was good
Is energy drinks like an upper hierarchy than chips? Like, is he moving on?
I
up
think
in the
it was
world?
more of a lateral type thing.
Do you think there's like gang warfare? You think it's like oh, the fucking chips
like
guys
Survivor
over here.
Series 97.
Exactly like it.
The
exactly
Bariquas
like
and who were the fucking bikers again?
DOA.
DOA, yeah.
Yeah, those skinheads. Gotta love those guys.
Oh yeah.
No bikers on this show, unfortunately. Sorry.
So just curious, are we live?
No. This is.
And do you use the video?
Yeah, I do. Most people listen,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I put this.
Doesn't matter to me. I was just curious.
I put this in my personal spank bank at least, so I just have
Hell
it.
yeah.
Have it
I did
offline.
listen to your Chapter 22 show last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or most of it. I'll listen to podcasts as I like go to sleep. Just because I gotta have something, and it's better without a screen to just have something on my phone.
Right.
So I probably fell asleep halfway through, but yeah, it was awesome.
I love the thought of me luring you to sleep.
There's another show. It's called The Year of Duke and Rogue. Great podcast.
I'm literally recording with them tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. So Kevin, he and I have been shooting the shit on Twitter forever, and he's been on our show once, but their show was always the one I would listen to because I was like kind of going through the back catalog, and he's like, "Oh, really? So I'm the one who puts you to sleep, huh?" I'm like, "It's a high compliment, brother." So yeah, now you're in that rotation too. I guess I just like listening to talk about old fucking pay-per-views because
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I fall asleep watching old shit. Like,
I mean, I do too. Don't get me.
no matter how exciting, like, I actually watched WrestleMania 31, like, in bed and I slept through half of it. I still haven't seen like most of the show.
Yeah.
One of these days I need to go back and watch it. But
I do a lot of like, I'll pick a year in Raw, or like I did 2002 SmackDown, and I'll just like kind of start and just run through. And again, if I fall asleep, whatever, and just kind of keep that. Like right now, I'm in like mid 99 of Raw, because like that's the shit I grew up with too. So that's been a hoot, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so, because there's wrestling always has like those lulls, like when a match starts, you know, nothing's gonna happen for a while, so it's so easy to nod off. But
yeah,
no, but 99 Raw, I don't think there's anybody putting dildos in people's asses.
No, that was a lot of fun.
I'm not confident about that though. Like they did some weird shit, so some stuff on metal probably. I don't know, but speaking of that. Progress Chapter 23. So you said you got a chance to check out the show?
I did. I checked out not only this show, but a hodgepodge of other random Progress matches as well.
So you said you went down a bit of a rabbit hole, huh?
Little bit. Yeah, because this was new for me. You know, I'd never had access to it, and I think I told you over DM, like, anytime I can watch some new wrestling that I've never really seen and I know is good, I'm going to dive in, and that's what I did. I think I'd seen maybe one match prior. It was a Walter ZSJ match. I don't even remember what it was from, but, you know, I heard it was really good, and it was. But, yeah, I probably watched, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 random matches from Progress in addition to this show. So, I love it. Any
standouts that you remember?
Yeah, so I think I told you, and you clearly haven't gotten to him yet if you're going in order, but Cara Noir, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I'm familiar with him. I haven't really seen any matches, but I know who he is.
So I had just discovered him in DDT. He just made his DDT debut, and I'm like, this guy is fucking awesome. Like, not only the gimmick, the entrance, but he was trained by Zack Sabre Jr., so you know he can work, too.
Right.
So I watched a match of his with Pete Dunne. While Dunne was still in NXT, I guess a lot of those guys would still come over. There was a Mark Andrews Chris Hero match, which was from the early days that I'm thinking you probably have covered.
I don't think I've
or maybe it's like
yet.
30. It might be 30.
Yeah, Mark Andrews. Yeah, it's weird because like NXT UK I think starts what in 18.
I think so.
And this is like the end of 15. So
yeah,
I think there's gonna be a period where they all just leave at once. So
yeah, it was a triple threat with I think Walter, Rampage Brown, and Riddle. Or maybe Walter, Riddle, and someone else.
I know like Walter and Riddle are there like in the 50s. I'm not sure how long they're there. I know Walter's there for a long time. I think like Riddle just kind of pops in and out. But
Big Daddy on this one.
Big Daddy Gunther. Man.
Dude, I was thinking about that. Like if that was his name, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
Like if it was Big Daddy Gunther.
That's fun to say. That's like a roller coaster out of your mouth.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Speaking of roller coasters in your mouth, moon pies, right? I don't know how much of like the banter in between the matches you watch because the show starts.
It's hard to understand.
British people really just sound like idiots, right?
Yeah. And I heard you ripping on the British Office last episode, and I'm in the same boat. Like, I love the American Office. I gave it a shot, and I'm like, 1, what the hell are they saying? 2, this isn't funny. But like this Progress, like it's a different vibe, like them showing you the banter in between and like the small, what's the guy's name? Smallman, like he'll get in there before every match, and so it's cool. It's almost like a comedy show and I saw he is a comedian. I've of course done a little reading up.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. I believe it.
Yeah. But. Yeah, he's got a stand-up comedy background, and then I guess started working more with NXT UK.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still around in WWE or not, because obviously
who knows now, like if they'll bring him back for whatever NXT Europe or what have you. But yeah, it's a fun, rowdy atmosphere for all these shows I've seen, and this one was certainly no different. Yeah,
the crowd participation is definitely a hallmark of, I guess, just European wrestling in general, but Progress is definitely a good representation of that. But also a good representation of Progress is this opening match. We brought him up earlier. Big Daddy Gunther, Big Daddy Walter, as he's called here, versus Rampage Brown. And the first thing that struck me here is Walter's presentation. He's so like the music. I don't know what the song was, but it's not the symphony, whatever the hell.
Yeah, it's not. And just his look. obviously,
Yeah.
compared to what he looks like now, is significant, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd ever seen him back this far, like 2015. So
Yeah, it's interesting because I've watched a bit of WXW. I don't know how much of that you've watched, the German
bits
promotion.
and pieces, a match here or there.
Yeah, because he's a huge deal over there, like in this timeline. But it almost feels like he's kind of an underneath guy. I mean, he's an opening match here.
That's how he came off secondary to Rampage Brown.
I mean,
big time.
Rampage definitely got a way bigger reaction than him.
Yeah. And I noticed that on the other time I saw Rampage, I think it was against Tommy End, actually. The crowd gets, like, really into his entrance.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're chanting. But a buddy of mine, we found, like, it was Rampage Brown WALTER from NXT UK maybe last year.
Yep.
Neither of us had ever heard of that guy, and we're like, wow, he's a badass. Match was really good. And I'm like, wait till you see this motherfucker in progress and how the crowd treats him. And it's like, he's a real badass there.
Yeah. No, Rampage is fun as hell. Yeah, that NXT UK match, that was like, was it WrestleMania weekend? It was like buried in between like a bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people even watched it, but it was a really good match. I think it might have been actually the same week as the Ciampa Walter match. So I don't know if people were necessarily talking about it.
That does sound right, yeah.
But yeah, Walter coming out here just like a hoodie, just skipping out there. No, not a lot of presence to him. I mean, he's still a big bastard, but like, yeah, this is how far he's come. It's fun to see that. But
I feel like he may have had a smile on his face at one point.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Get that out of here, sir.
Yeah, for real. What are you doing?
Well, he made up for it with the match itself, because this is the epitome of big boys slapping meat or whatever.
And what an opener too. I mean, this show was awesome. First of all, but like this was about an 8-minute match, and they broke the fucking ring.
Right away. We're like, goddamn 5 minutes into the show, and the ropes explode. I think it was just like a whip into the corner.
Had something like that happened before on any of the previous shows you'd seen?
Not like that. There was one time where somebody undid the turnbuckles, but none that just exploded like this, just out of
it was
pure
insane.
girth. So yeah, the ropes explode like pretty soon into the match. This is after just an insane chop battle between these two guys. By the way, Walter's still a great chopper even back then.
Oh my gosh, yeah, still as good as ever here.
And so the ropes, it's like there's just the bottom rope connected, but they're still going at it. Walter hits his power bomb, and he hits a first rope splash, which was fun.
Which I've never seen before. Yeah, like it just that setting of the ring and what it looked like. It's like, I feel like you've seen it when the Big Show and Brock broke the ring, and it's like that's that. But this, for them to keep going and to use that first rope, and a big motherfucker like Walter flying off it, like it was wild,
dude. Crazy. It's a testament to how good he is, man. Just improvising
for
like
real.
That.
I love the "Save the Ring" chant.
the fans that they care. You can't say they don't
get
care.
It.
Because there was a situation, I think it was last chapter or the one before it, where they had this like canvas. It had like the Progress logo on it, and some other people like signed it or something. But then there was a hardcore match where there was like tacks and shards of glass were everywhere, and it like ripped up the canvas. So the crowd was like bummed out that they had to like get a new it's a whole thing. There's a whole lore to Progress.
It seems like it. Like I haven't really seen any Chikara, but I feel like the two companies, from what I know about both, and now have seen this, are somewhat similar. Like, have you seen any Chikara?
Here and there.
Yeah.
How similar is it to Ring of Honor? Like old school Ring of Honor?
A little bit. I mean, obviously the British fans are different than American fans, but in terms of like how the fans are, treating it and interacting with the wrestlers, like I think there's definitely some similarities. And I'm kind of, I'm not super duper well versed in my old Ring of Honor, but I've certainly seen, bits and pieces here or there. But I'd say that's a pretty similar vibe if you're comparing it to American wrestling.
Yeah, as close as it gets, I suppose. But Rampage. No, go ahead.
I was going to say another thing I love just from their website. I think it's like pro wrestling for adults is how they marketed this.
Is that what it is? Oh, yeah.
Which I just thought was awesome.
It's, I mean, it's very, very vulgar. I think this show is real. Well, other than the one of the matches, is relatively tame.
Yeah.
We've had people, try to decapitate people and stuff like that on prior shows. So I don't think there was any of that on this show.
No.
Casual. It's on. You got. People really want the title, you see. So you got to do what you got to do. But Walter, he goes for that first rope splash, but misses. Rampage grabs him, hits him with a huge pile driver, gets the win. And fun match. Just a hoss fight. I'll never not like a match like this.
Oh, no, me too. Yeah, I live for shit like this. And also loved I don't know if you I made a bunch of notes as I tend to, but
let him fly.
At one point he did like the elbows like the Blackpool Combat Club kind of do, but it was like super slow motion. So it just looked really funny, and he's so big. But then what about the post match? I think it was Walter slapped Brown. He slaps him back. Or no, it was Brown slapped him. He slapped him back, and then he got a forearm, and then Walter's like, all right, let's shake hands. That was fucking awesome.
Because they slapped each other. I was like, oh, okay, I think we're just having fun. And they start headbutting each other. I was like, wait, hold on. This is a little hostile. But then they just hug and kiss and all that stuff. And it's just what they do, I guess, over there.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
What a way to start the show. I know, like you said, like very crazy to see Walter in an opening match and the underdog and losing.
Just coming out there to some country music or whatever the hell.
Whatever the fuck it was. The music is all pretty funny. Like, I know the origin later. Here I go on the road again. I'm just like, seriously? And then the next match, obviously we'll get there. I didn't know he was part of the group. And then I'm like, what the fuck is with this music?
Everyone just shares music.
And like, one thing that kind of I didn't like is, and very few things, but just overall, like the announcers would never talk when guys are walking to the ring. It was like always silent, and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck these people are. I looked at the card ahead of time, but I wasn't really kind of keeping. So I'm like, who is this? And then you don't really know till the introduction. I don't know. It's like I like a little like, hey, here's this guy who's got this little mini story, but also just who the fuck is it? Because I really don't know. But aside from that, very few complaints. Like I really, really had a blast watching this.
Yeah. The commentary. So RJ Singh and Glenn Joseph are the commentators, and this is like their third show commentating. So they're good commentators. The audio, I think, is the levels are weird.
They
so you can barely hear it
a lot. Yeah, like because what the Joseph guy screams constantly and like
so that's like a meme apparently. That's like his thing, I guess.
I could see that.
But I agree. There's some like I watch a lot of old school Ring of Honor, and I always pick on the commentary because it's so like exhausting to listen to. But that being said, they do get over the stories very well.
They do.
It's just like too much a little bit, but it's kind of the opposite
very
end
British,
of the spectrum.
loud and in your face.
Yes.
And then like you said, the audio levels and quality like is jarring when he screams a lot too. But it's fine.
He gets excited.
He's passionate. I can get behind that for sure. So
were you not screaming at your whatever you were watching this on when you were watching Jackson Sexsmith come out?
Oh my god. Yeah, so here's our dip into comedy, and holy shit! Like, I didn't know Progress was kind of known for a lot of comedy. I listened to your last show where it seemed like that show definitely had a lot more comedy than this one. But with this one, this was it. But holy shit, did they come hard and in your face?
Yes, I mean, who didn't though? Am I right?
I know, I did. When I saw that Gimp come out, that was it for me.
That was so I'll lay out the match first. So it's a natural progression series quarterfinal match, and if you're not aware, the natural progression series, this is like a breakout tournament of sorts. It's a tournament with like lesser known guys, and the winner gets a title match at some point, which we see the second natural progression series like up for grabs later in the show, which is a whole weird thing. But so these three guys are relatively new guys, so you're not you know, it's okay that you didn't know any, because I didn't know two of these guys at least.
Yeah,
So we have Damon Moser versus Shen Wu versus Jack Sexsmith. It sounds like I just made all those names up, but those are real
really
people.
like when I saw the match, I'm like, who are these guys? Shen Wu?
You big Shen Wu guy?
Bit huge Wu.
Woo. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
Woo, Kenny Wu. That's what I was
Yes.
thinking of. D2 the Mighty Ducks.
There we go. It all comes together. Speaking of coming together, we got Jack Smith. He's getting me all flustered and excited. Yeah, let's come together. He's got his Mr. Slave out there with him. Coming out to When I Touch Myself by who sings that? Is it When I think
is it Paula
about
Abdul?
you,
I think it's Paula
yes.
Abdul. But I do want to note before that, when the GIMP first comes out, it's to the music from Pulp Fiction when the GIMP is in that film, and that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. So I popped from the music, seeing the GIMP, and like, again, not knowing who Jack Sexsmith is or anything of where this is going, and then he comes out with the dildo in his pants to the song.
Okay. It's not
carrying
just
holding hands with the GIMP coming out, and I'm like, all right, I'm on board for this.
the dildo has a name, Brad.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
What's the dildo's name? Do you remember?
I don't. If they brought it up,
hold
I
on.
don't. Or
Never
wait,
mind.
is it Mr. Cocko was the condom?
Yes,
right?
you're right.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. It's not. I think it's just a dildo. But yes, Mr. Cocko, of course, is the condom. We're still talking about wrestling, everybody. And
Yes.
Damon Moser's there.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we got no Damon
Which
Moser.
he was pretty good, like in
Yeah.
terms of the wrestling, like he was probably and Wu, with the striking, but yeah, obviously Sexsmith was doing his thing.
He sure was. Some backstory. So Damon Moser was originally a part of the Origin, which is a faction that we'll see a little bit later, but he was kicked out pretty much immediately because fuck him. And and then Shen Wu, who was Chinese. It's pretty much all. I mean, you picture a Chinese guy in your head. That's Shen Wu.
Who likes doing martial arts strikes and kicks.
Because of course he does.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
In his black and yellow bodysuit.
He didn't seem like he just seemed like a normal Chinese guy that they put.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't look like a wrestler, or martial artist, or anything. Just a guy.
Yeah. Well, I'll still hopefully Shen Wu finds success later in progress because
I hope so.
he got his in this match, but I'm just looking at my notes and I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah.
So
Same. I like sexually frivolous, morally ambiguous. Of course, is fun. He kisses Jim Smallman. He's got his funny dancing, and then what I really liked is measuring up with 14 inches. That's good stuff. And then he pulled out the dildo and was twirling it around, and then Wu gave him the old Gorilla Monsoon Pearl Harbor job from behind.
wait, what?
And so I kind of grew up on like WrestleManias 1 through 13 because my brother's friend had the box set, and I would just watch them over and over as like when I'm 9-10 years old. But Gorilla Monsoon on those like early WrestleManias, he would call a Pearl Harbor job basically when you attack someone from behind when they don't see it. So for whatever reason,
he's Chinese.
oh shit. I honestly wasn't even making that connection.
Cancel Brainbuster, boys.
Fuck. Oh man, that's actually really, really funny now. Because I noted it later on. It happens. Marty Skrull does it as well later on.
Yes.
And it's just funny because I've never actually used that term on our show or any other show I've been on, and just so happens the one time I get excited about using it is with a Chinese guy. So yeah, cancel me.
That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. I hear you.
Yeah, it really is.
I hear you. Oh, well.
But yeah, that kicked off the match.
Yeah, that's a good old Pearl Harbor to start off the match.
From the Chinese.
from the Chinese. Moser's in there. He's trying to hold this all together. You know, he's throwing out knee tremblers. He's got kind of a Pete Dunne-ish vibe to him. Yeah. Maybe like a Kmart version of Pete Dunne. A Butch, sorry. And we have this is actually a really fun spot where Wu has a Boston Crab on Moser. Sexsmith like goes behind Wu and makes a tap out noise to get him to let go, which was a pretty unique spot.
Awesome. Yeah.
Capitalizes by rolling Wu up as he lets go, but gets 2 counts. I think is it at this point where Sexsmith's tights get pulled down on a sunset flip?
Yep, and they stay down through the duration of the match.
Of course they do. This is
his ass is just out there.
Second chapter in a row where somebody's tights got pulled down on a sunset flip and they refuse to pull them up. I hope this is not the long-term storytelling I get with Progress, or I'm about to stop watching this shit.
Was it Sexsmith again last time, or was it someone else?
It was Jonathan Windsor, who had a less nice ass. Not that Sexsmith was particularly fantastic, but if I had to pick one to look at,
yeah.
And then
he sat on his face and then hit multiple flying bum strikes.
Is that the technical term? Flying bum strike?
I believe that's what they said in the match. Yeah, Naomi would also do those in WWE. I don't know what they called them then, but
the rear view, I believe.
Yeah. I've just always called it the flying ass.
It might as well be. It might as well. I think Colt Cabana used to call it the flying asshole.
Oh, okay.
But so we got Jackson there, pulls out Mr. Cocko. Wait, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, we got the dildo first.
Gotta talk about.
He hits Wu with the stink face.
Right.
Bare ass.
Full gooch.
Yeah. And then he pulls out the to be named dildo, which I think now you have to name it if it's not named.
I mean, maybe one day.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be right now.
Maybe next chapter. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah. And Moser, I guess, got a hold of it and put it right up his bum.
He had to counter the stink face, so.
Oh, that's right.
How else do you counter a stink face than shoving a cock up their ass? I mean, that sounds like the logical.
I mean, yeah. What else could you do?
I mean, I went to wrestling school, and that's what they taught me.
Oh man, yeah.
I think it was
I'm sure Rikishi's probably had a lot of cock shoved up his ass.
Do you think? I don't know if I've seen one cock go in Rikishi's ass.
I know, but I mean, yeah, because I guess it's never really been countered.
Maybe nobody had the foresight to have a dildo with them ringside,
or just the mere girth.
Yeah,
to fit up there.
You'd have to work it in. That doesn't just fall in. You gotta.
No, it ain't Jack Sexsmith out there and his beautiful little butt.
He does have a twinkish figure, doesn't he?
He sure does. And Rikishi is quite the bear.
See a bear? He's not hairy, Rikishi.
Yeah, I know.
What is a smooth big guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, this is where I need a live chat.
Yeah, there's got to be some term.
Fucking Matt Ritter probably knows. He's probably listening. Yeah. Like, oh, it's a otter or whatever the hell.
I'm sure he does.
Well, he'll let me know. But yeah, so we got a dildo in the ass of Jack, and then, but Jack, he fights back. He takes the dildo out of his ass, pulls out Mr. Cocko, which is a condom, I assume a Magnum of sorts. Didn't get a look at the brand, but he wraps it around his fist, which, good on him for being safe with it,
Yeah, absolutely.
He Mr. Cocko to Wu, and Moser tries this like wrestling shit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Moser's been doing his damnedest to wrestle throughout this whole
Moser's over here in his black singlet, his black boots. He's like, God damn it, why am I here?
I thought this was British strong style wrestling for adults, damn it.
Oh, it's adult. It's adult, that's for sure.
It's adult.
You're not seeing this on Saturday Morning Slam or whatever the hell. I don't think so, at least. But Moser's in there.
Not yet.
Moser hits a like a fisherman buster to Jack Sexsmith, and then a knee trembler to Shen Wu. And that gives Damon Moser the win.
Which I was happy to see him win after all that. After all the shenanigans, and he just wanted to fucking wrestle. He did, and he got the W.
Well, Jack.
But again, like, very, very fun, and obviously completely different from the first match and the rest of the card. So I loved it. And it, you know, not knowing what the hell I was getting into here and not thinking I was getting into this.
I love the thought of me like, hey, let's watch some Progress. Okay, I'll watch it. Well, let's check out what Progress Wrestling is. And then you see rings exploding and then dicks going up people's ass and condoms getting flung into the crowd.
Like 40 minutes in.
Yes.
Not even, probably.
This is how we're whetting our appetite here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm wet. But,
oh my gosh. Because there are 2 fucking banger matches.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting into some stuff now.
Yeah, among some other just really good stuff, but
yeah, I'm sure.
Getting wet.
Well, same here, fella. Yeah. Well, someone who's not wet, well, he might be. It's Paul Robinson versus Mark Haskins.
I've got some thoughts here. So
tell me.
I did not know who Paul Robinson was.
You do now.
I came to learn he was part of the Speaking Out movement, which,
well,
honestly didn't. What's
by the
that?
way, I was gonna say like half this card is, but
yeah,
you wouldn't guess who in this last match was a part of that. Yeah.
Shen Wu.
Yeah, this goddamn Shen Wu. Cancel Shen Wu.
Yeah. So I just have next guy very angry, flipping everyone off, and he's getting in fans' faces is what I wrote. Because again, I don't know who this is when he's walking down to the ring. I'm just like, this motherfucker is mad. And I guess I respect that, but for whatever reason, I just didn't like him from the get-go. Yeah. And I just wanted to see him get his ass beat. And he was stalling the whole time and, you know, showboating to the crowd. And, but yeah, good for him for making me want him to see get his ass kicked.
Yeah, I suppose that's the idea. Yeah, I mean, my first note here is Paul Robinson is so hateable. Because you're right, he's just... just an angry little man. Just a bald... He gets compared to Dobby a lot. I don't know if there's any chance on these shows, but
yeah,
just jeans, stupid hoodie,
asshole.
Just a bald ass. That should be his name, bald asshole.
The bald asshole, Paul Robinson.
It's probably already taken. We got It didn't make me laugh though, because like you said, Paul, he's just stomps out there. He's getting in fans' faces. I don't know what these fans did, but he's very unhappy with them. And then he's like so like goosed up. He gets in the ring. He like goes to run up to the second rope, and then he like trips. The crowd makes fun of him, and it just makes him more mad.
Yeah.
Just the recipe for success.
Yeah, and then a you fucked up chant, and then immediately a fuck him up Haskins chant when he gets out there. So
I can't. If I got in the ring and tripped to my entrance and the crowd was making fun of me, I would just go full on shoot against whoever I'm wrestling. I should not be a wrestler.
My first note after that is I don't like Robinson's face. Appears to be very annoying, stalling a lot after the bell.
And his shit jeans.
His sheens.
Crowd didn't love his, because I don't know if you're familiar with Roderick Strong and his shitty little boots.
Yeah.
So Roddy was actually on our Progress show a couple of chapters before this, and they did the same chant, but here they're using Paul's jeans, which they're fine jeans, I guess. I mean, they're no who had the best jeans in wrestling? Who's your favorite jeaned wrestler?
Man, I mean, so we're talking not jorts, because that would be, obviously John Cena, but who wore just jeans? Not that I'm like the biggest John Cena guy, but he's of course the first one that comes to mind.
You're a well-known Cena, Mark.
Yeah, huge. How about Billy Kidman, like late 90s WCW? I feel like he'd rock, when he left the flock, he'd rock like the white wife beater and jorts.
Yeah, I just don't like his shooting star press. I don't know.
It is very well. He was like one of the first to do it, but yeah, it was too low. Like
it was impressive at the time. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
he wouldn't get enough hang time. And I remember there was one where he like hit his head on the rope.
I saw it like did it, but just like you said, like splashed on the rope.
That was on WrestleBotch recently. I don't know if you follow like it's Instagram account. Yeah, good shit.
On Thunder or something, but
I don't know. Who do you got for gened wrestlers?
Oh, I was hoping this wouldn't come back to me. Elias is a good one.
Okay, yeah.
Jeans.
How about denim overalls, the Godwins?
Oh, I think we have a winner. Hillbilly Jim, perhaps.
Oh,
come on now.
He's a Kentuckian. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh,
granted, I'm in northern Kentucky, like 8 minutes from Cincinnati. He was probably dead central hillbilly Kentucky, but hey, I'll claim Hillbilly Jim all day.
I don't think anybody's fighting for him, so go ahead.
Real quick, I know we're already on 50 tangents, but did you ever, when the WWE Network first started, did you happen to watch Legends House?
No, I've seen a few clips here and there, but I've never like sat down and watched it.
It was at the time fucking hilarious, and like me and my buddies would just like get stoned and watch it and just laugh and laugh and laugh because it was nonsense. But like Hillbilly Jim came off as just like a real wholesome good guy. That's all I wanted to say. And Mean Gene was fucking exactly like you think he would be, and so funny and just getting drunk. It's worth like I kind of want to
do a podcast series on it.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
I mean that's a pretty good idea.
I'd listen to it. I mean, you might want to jump on that before this idea gets out there.
Don't take it. I guess I got canceled anyway. So
you're done. Yeah.
I'll make the Pearl Harbor pod.
Just
it'll be all about Chinese history.
Filipinos and Taiwan, everybody but Japanese people.
All right.
Well, speaking of bombing a naval base, we got Paul Robinson here versus Mark Haskins. Rings of Saturn's aplenty. We got.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about Mark Haskins? We talked a lot about the bald asshole.
Yeah, I don't think I realized I mixed Mark Haskins and Mark Andrews up. Jeez, I almost called him Mark Robinson. So like when Haskins was coming out, I'm like, man, he looks a lot different than the Haskins I saw previously. And then I'm like, oh, that was Mark Andrews.
Yes.
So I did watch his like Mark Andrews chapter 4 against Will Ospreay, I think it was.
Okay.
Which was awesome. So like that's who I was thinking I was gonna see, and then I'm like, nope, that's a different guy entirely. But yeah, he was pretty good. I mean, honestly, to Paul Robinson's credit, like I was so much more focused in on him and hating him than maybe what Haskins was doing. But yeah, I mean, he was a fine worker.
Yeah, no, I'm a big, because I've always heard his name, but once I started rewatching all these chapters, I've become a really big fan of him because he started out as kind of like an Adam Cole-ish character, more like charismatic and flamboyant. Sure. Now he's black boots, black tights, like more of a I don't know who to compare him to. He's just like a shoot fighter kind of guy.
Yeah.
Martial art heavy. And a lot of submissions in this match. And you got Paul just being a dick. Like it's like Haskins goes up to the top rope or to the second rope, and Paul shoves the ref into the ropes and knocks Haskins into like a shattered dreams position. And Robinson hits a springboard stomp as Haskins is like hanging there, which was
from the second rope. Yeah. Yep.
For a 2 count, amazingly. And then Robinson tries to do it again, but then Haskins counters into a power bomb. It's a made in Japan, and then a flipping arm bar of sorts for the tap out. Love the finish here. Brutal.
It was awesome. Yeah. I have so after the stomp, I have then Robinson followed up with a pretty weak flying forearm for 2.
Yes.
It was not AJ Styles' phenomenal forearm.
Well, he's got tiny little arms,
Yeah, it was the bald asshole forearm. But yeah, that finish was wild. Like I didn't even know what to put. I have sit out power bomb by Haskins, counters, Haskins some sort of big driver into an armbar for a tap.
Big driver, he says.
Yeah, big driver. I did note that Haskins did the Katsuyori Shibata drop kicks in the corner ×2, which I like.
Yes.
Shibata, one of my favorites of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was, again, I guess as much as I hated Paul Robinson, I feel like I'm giving him a lot of credit, and deservedly so, because he, you know, despite his stalling and all that shit, like, I wanted to see him lose, and he did.
Yeah. And Robinson, I don't know if they really mentioned it during this match, but he spent a lot of time as like a henchman to Jimmy Havoc, who was the Progress champion for quite a while, a couple of years, I think.
I remember you said he was basically like the main character of the first 20 chapters, right?
Essentially, yeah. So if you're like ever interested in like rewatching Progress, like from the beginning, like the first, because like you watched Will Ospreay versus Mark Andrews from chapter 4, and like if I had to like give any highlights of the first like 10 chapters, it'd be like their matches. Storylines, there's not a lot going on until Jimmy becomes like a bigger part of it, but
sure. I mean, now that I have your credentials and assuming you're okay with that, I'm definitely going to be watching more. I don't know if I'll be watching full shows, you know, but I don't know if you're a cagematch.net guy, but it's just a good barometer to find matches. So like, that's kind of what I was digging into, but
that'll lead you good. Yeah.
I'm into it.
Well, are you into umbrellas?
Oh yeah.
Well, you're in luck because we have Marty Scurll versus Tommaso Ciampa.
This was awesome. And starting with the Psycho Killer entrance, which I'd never seen before. Like, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah. Very different than what he would be in NXT.
Yeah. And I guess by the end of this match, I kind of gleaned, was this his final match before going to WWE?
I believe he's actually like with WWE at this point.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's definitely, if it's not his last match, it's one of his last matches.
Yeah, because he kind of got that nice send off from the crowd, but
for sure. And Marty Scurll is a guy. It feels like they're building this guy up to be the next big heel in Progress. Like I said, Jimmy Havoc kind of monopolized that for several years. So Marty Scurll, he's, you know, a spoiler alert, he wins this match, but getting a big win over Ciampa. And what are your thoughts on Scurll? I mean, we obviously don't see him really nowadays, but as a wrestler, thoughts on him?
I was such a big Marty Scurll fan for sure. Like, I kind of really first discovered him in New Japan because I didn't really watch a ton of like Ring of Honor and things like that back then. So when he first came in for 2017 Best of Super Juniors, I think it was, I'm like, and I'd heard of him, of course, and Bullet Club and all that. And I'm like, this guy, he's got something. And, you know, the whoop, whoop, like I went to All In, and that chant was very common. Obviously, that was like the peak of Scurll. So like anytime you'd be in the concourse, you'd go whoop, whoop, and it would be returned every single time. But big fan. There was one, I think it was Sakura Genesis 2018 against Will Ospreay. 5-star match from me. Like, that match is fucking awesome. So yeah, I was really sad, you know, when obviously Scurll did what he did, and it's bad and sucks, but I'm sad we don't see him anymore. Because I was really like becoming such a big fan of that guy. But yeah, I love him, and he starts this one off with a Pearl Harbor job of his own.
Yeah, I mean, he does. He sure does. Pearl Harbor right out of the gate with the
like
umbrella.
He snuck in. Like, it was perfectly done. Like, you didn't even see him, and then all of a sudden he slides in with the umbrella, and we're off.
Are you telling me that he snuck in there like a sneaky Jap? You know, doing the not bonsai. What do they yell? I guess it might be is bonsai.
Kamikaze,
guerrilla warfare or something.
Bonsai. You're just thinking of Yokozuna.
See, that's all. He's not even Japanese. Like, what are we even doing here? You know, like who's to get mad at us when we have a Samoan playing a Japanese guy? But you know,
yeah, come on,
it is what it is. Should have been Shenwu, but we have
good call.
Chicken wings. Yeah, we have all the classic Marty Scurll stuff here. The finger snaps. The
We have Ciampa busting out a front suplex onto Marty into the ring post, which looked pretty loosey goosey over there. The corner knees from Ciampa, which is like the face wash knees.
Good.
What else we got here? Anything else in this match catch your asshole?
Let's see. I have a lot of notes. So I guess a lot. There was a Suplex City chant, which I thought was interesting. So I guess
it's funny watching these back and seeing like what's in the like the zeitgeist of like what's going on in WWE. There's like Adam Rose, like the chant in his theme is like, oh, that was a thing at this point. I guess.
Adam the Rosebud.
Like they were doing that thing.
We thought that was the funniest shit too when it was happening. It was so stupid.
Fantastic.
I thought it was interesting hearing that Ciampa had wrestled in Chicago apparently 10 hours prior.
Yeah.
The commentary said that like halfway through the match. I'm like, holy shit.
Because was Ciampa like deep into NXT, or was this like when he was just like an enhancement guy?
I think it would have been because 2016 was the Cruiserweight Classic, and that's kind of like when he and Gargano had that one-on-one, which was awesome then. I know they were kind of like, they might have like just been forming DIY here.
Yeah, I think they were like an unofficial team at this point. Yeah,
because that would have been summer 16. This was what, November of 15. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just cool seeing Ciampa wrestle in this environment because I'd never seen him outside of the confines of WWE. And like, I feel like he had an extra bit of a mean streak to him that maybe only Walter and Gargano have pulled out of him in WWE.
Yeah, definitely more it's like higher energy, I guess. I mean, he still has energy, but it's just a different style, I guess.
More striking based, I'd say so. Also, speaking of Gargano, I think it was their second big match. So he repeats this is a little foreshadowing when he rips up the ring to expose the boards.
Yes, which was I didn't see that coming. I mean,
I'm like, what is he doing?
Seemed like kind of a random match to be busting that out, but I guess we're almost at intermission, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, and the umbrella shot that he cracked Marty right in the back with that.
Dude, he broke his umbrella, and now Marty's just gonna walk outside and get all wet because no umbrellas to be had.
I know. He's in trouble.
But I liked it because Marty tried to do the old Eddie Guerrero thing because there was a ref bump. Marty takes his umbrella, throws it at Ciampa, he catches it, but he jumps the gun, I guess, because the ref's still down.
He did it way too soon. I'm like, come on, Marty, you're smarter than that.
Ciampa's just like, oh, now I got a weapon now.
All right, thanks. The ref still cashed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it ended shortly thereafter. Marty had, I guess, gotten a drink of water at ringside, unbeknownst to us.
Yep.
And he's in some sort of hold, and Marty spits the water up in his eyes and gets a bungee rope. I guess he brought that from out. You know, he clearly did a lot of shit. Or did we see him grab that? I can't remember.
When Ciampa undid the canvas, I guess there's bungee cords holding it to the ring. So they were all loose and cattywampus inside the ring. So I guess Skrull grabbed one. Very resourceful of them, wrapped it around Ciampa's throat in the chicken wing, and positioned himself so that the ref couldn't see the bungee cord. And then Ciampa goes out, which I thought was a pretty creative finish.
Very well done. Yeah. And I love that you said cattywampus because that's what my mother used to always say. And I don't hear that word every day or ever.
Bring it back.
Let's bring it back.
Pretty fun. Any other notes on this one?
Just the ending again, the thank you Ciampa, you know, the crowd certainly kind of sent him off, and that's why I'm like, this was a banger, and what a way to go out. Real quick, I also watched a Finn Balor or Prince Devitt rather versus ZSJ match that was his last match before going to WWE as well, like the day before. I'm like, oh, really cool. So
yeah, Prince Devitt has had some bangers in progress as well. He had a really bloody street fight with Jimmy Havoc. He
was that before this?
Yes, that was like it was like one of the tournaments they did. It wasn't an official chapter. It was like around 13, 14.
I would like to watch that because I haven't seen Jimmy Havoc outside of AEW, which it's been a while since he was even there and didn't really do a ton. But other than he won the Cracker Barrel Classic.
Well, who could ever forget? He's the Cracker Barrel champion, Jimmy Havoc. It's probably working.
But yeah, I would definitely love to see him in his environment, for lack of a better term.
Like, I wasn't sold on Jimmy Havoc just from watching him in AEW.
Yeah.
Even like I watched some MLW stuff he did, and I was like, whatever. He staples things to people, it's fine. But man, his character work in progress is some of the best heel stuff you'll ever see.
Hell yeah. But yeah, this match, I'd say definitely the match of the night to this point for sure. Maybe overall, but I thought this was great. Again, I guess because I haven't watched Skrull in so long. I mean, it's weird. Like, I've just kind of chosen not to really watch his matches. I don't know why.
Go back and watch Marty Skrull matches, I guess.
Yeah, but like, anyway, hadn't seen him in a while, and like I said, seeing Ciampa kind of in this setting as well. And again, the intensity and the urgency was there from the Pearl Harbor job. So yeah, I was locked in for this one, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, you start off at Pearl Harbor and you just keep dive bombing into it, and then you take out the Twin Towers. So you got speaking of Twin Towers, we got a tag team match here for the Progress Tag Team Shields.
Yeah, dude, that I'm like, what the hell?
My favorite thing about,
but I loved it. Yeah, I'm like, that is so cool.
Bringing new watchers of people who haven't watched Progress before is getting their reactions on, because the world title used to be a staff with an eagle on it.
That is awesome.
Like a fucking 10-foot staff that you have to carry around. Shit. It worked when like Jimmy Havoc had it, but like Mark Andrews or whatever, just
he's like 5'5". Yeah. But no, I loved the Shield. It took me a second. I think I may have been like looking down or on my phone or something, like when they were coming out. But then to see them each like holding their half, I'm like, that rules.
I don't think it stays around. I know eventually they get built. I don't know when that is. I hope it's soon, because at one point, I think it was like a couple chapters ago, the Shields got confiscated at TSA. So that's a hard one to explain.
I'm just all for uniqueness and things that I've never seen in wrestling before, and that was certainly one of them.
Yeah,
And there's a lot in progress. Like we said, dildos up the ass, gimps, all sorts of stuff.
If that's not a commercial for this episode, I don't know what it is. Shit. But we got the tag team titles on the line here in a 3-way. We got the champions, the Sumerian Death Squad, the team of Michael Dante and Tommy End, aka Aleister Black, Malachi Black, versus the London Riots versus the Origin.
Here I am on the road again. That's my first note.
Such a long intro to the song.
Oh my god!
For Ligero, like, what are we doing?
I think I looked back. Was it he or Cruz? Like, these were the first two Progress champions, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Nathan Cruz won it.
The Origin.
So you're getting it.
Yeah.
You're a quick learner. Dave Mastiff's there as well, who was also he wasn't a Progress champion, but he was there, chapter 2 or whatever,
and joined on 22, right?
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
As you serenaded me to sleep last night.
That was in your dreams. I was like, while you were asleep, and I was just Dave Mastiff in my voice.
Also, if you check out our episode we just put out, Bo, I told him we were reviewing Progress, and he'd never heard of it. And he's like, Progress? That's the name of the company? So
it is kind of silly.
Yeah, we had a nice laugh about that. But
well, this is Progress, So.
It is Progress.
Yeah. See, I've gone too long calling it Progress. I can't just start saying Progress. So I'm all right. Yeah. But yeah, we got El Ligero. We got Nathan Cruz out here with Dave Mastiff. And Tommy End and Nathan Cruz start out.
Yep. Nathan
Cruz politely asks him, "No kicks, please. Can we just wrestle?" And Tommy's like, "Okay." And then the first of all, this match takes goddamn 20 minutes to start.
Oh my god. Yeah. Like, what was, like, we thought Paul Robinson was stalling. Although I did enjoy the "you're gonna get your fucking head kicked in" chant.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then like 10-15 minutes, Tommy End grabs the mic.
Yeah. So they're doing like,
thank God.
Yes, he's saying overall. I guess that's the idea here. I don't know how much 1995 ECW you've watched.
A little bit, not a ton, but a little bit.
Not a lot of reason to.
Yeah.
But Cactus Jack had this whole gimmick where he was like the opposite of the deathmatch guy. He would go out there to on purpose have terrible matches, lots of headlocks and all that stuff. So that's kind of the approach the Origin's taken here.
Okay.
Lots of headlocks, like even like Nathan Cruz has Tommy in a headlock, tags in Ligero. Ligero goes to the top rope, then slowly gets to the second rope, then the first rope, and then gets to the mat and locks in a headlock.
And then I think he tags Cruz back in, and
and then because Dave Mastiff is on the outside, they throw him to Dave. They throw the guy out to Dave Mastiff, and Dave puts an arm headlock on him on the outside. At one point, he even does like a full on headlock takeover on the floor.
Honestly, now knowing that this was like their gimmick, I certainly appreciate it more. But when I was watching this, I was so like out of these first 10 minutes. I'm like, God, this match sucks. And then Tommy ended, we come here for this boring bullshit.
And then it just breaks down.
Want to go back and watch it again, just because that's just like A-level trolling there, which I can always get behind.
Now that's something you could fall asleep to.
Level trolling, I don't know.
That's what the kids are doing these days. That's level. That's level.
It's level.
So we got fighting in the crowd. It just breaks down. Everybody, it's a full-on brawl all over the ballroom. I think they might be fighting by the bar area. Ligero's getting beeled into the chairs. It's the whole thing. People get out of the way and just tossed onto the chairs that are ringside.
And I like how Tommy, after he said, did we come here for this boring bullshit? Neither did I. Fucking popped Cruz in the head with the mic to kick it off. And then, shit just went crazy, which it was awesome from this point on.
Yes. Yeah. It was, I'm always a mark for a good mic shot. I don't know, just stuff.
I mean, the sound is perfect. And
it's just what you want.
Random, because me and my roommate watched Scream 3 last night. And fucking Dewey takes the butt of the knife to the forehead. I don't know why this just reminded me of that, but I was dying laughing at that because he was trying to get murdered and butt of the fucking
Can't say I've ever seen any other Scream other than the first one. I saw the first one, I was like, I'm set.
Yeah, so my roommate, it's like his favorite movie in all of them, and I can get behind him. And in spooky season, I'm down to watch some more horror films. But it was fun. I like to laugh at I like shitty horror a lot and like comedy, and this is like he said this is the worst Scream and definitely the corniest Scream, and I'm like, all right, it was, but I liked it. So
that's saying a lot.
But anyway, a mic shot is tight.
Yeah. Tight. And so is Tommy End, hits his Acai moonsault to the outside. We got everybody's doing their dives. The London Riots do double suicide dives.
Yep.
Then Michael Dante, this big bastard, which if you're not familiar with Michael Dante, anybody listening, he's I don't know, how do you describe him, Brett?
Shit. He's kind of Tommy End but less hair and a lot bigger.
Does he have less hair? Oh, less hair on his head.
On his head. Wasn't he bald?
Yeah, I think he was bald, but he had a lot of chest hair, I think.
Yes, he does.
Not a lot of chest hair, but
he's a lot bigger than Tommy End. Let's put it that
he's like if Tommy End ate Tommy End.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he flipped over the ropes, and I thought the announcers were going to have a heart attack. That was the first part I noted where they were like peaking on their audio.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It gave me static in my ear.
Yeah.
Maybe come.
That's what it was like watching these shows.
Yeah. Give them the audience the full experience. I like that. That. But
that was a fun little spot there.
He almost overshot. I didn't expect. I expected him to do a little barrel roll right over the rope, but he just
that's exactly what I wrote. All over Michael Dante flip over top and almost overshoots. Announcers peaking.
And then the London Riots hit their district line double power bomb to Ligero.
I put District 9, like the film.
Look, I only know their name because I've seen it before. And actually, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, I'm not 100% sure I'm right.
Yeah. Well, first, James Davis got the cricket bat.
Yeah, because You see, they're in Europe. I don't know if you're aware.
Yes.
They really need to reinforce that you're watching British wrestling. So
was better than whatever fucking bat Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan were hitting each other with. Literally looked like a kid's t-ball bat.
What do you think? Do you think that was a real bat?
No way. Like, did you see and hear? Like, they weren't selling them at all. Like, it reminded me of one of those like long wiffle ball bats. I said t-ball, but like a big wiffle ball bat.
The only reason I ask is because like they weren't hitting each other very hard.
No,
that makes me think they were holding back.
Maybe
I feel like if it was a wiffle ball bat or if it was like a rubber bat,
you're
they'd
right.
be, like, hitting each other.
But that's what the sound like. It sounded so weak when they hit them. But regardless, it looked awful.
I mean, how often are you hit with a baseball bat? Like, how do you know what that sounds like?
And they just weren't selling it in the least.
I'm not here to kink shame, but like, you know,
yeah. Maybe we should be.
Yeah, I mean, look, bats. Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah,
bats in the ass. But
yeah, we already had dildos here. We don't need to get into bats yet.
Have you ever listened to Opie and Anthony, the radio show?
Not really, but I'm familiar with them.
They did this one thing one time, like back in the day, where they would have this like wiffle ball bat, and they would bring in these like, I don't know if they were porn stars or just general whores, but they would like take turns putting the bat up their vaginas, and whoever could get it the deepest won like a Olive Garden gift card or something.
Sounds thrilling.
Yeah. You should go check it out. Speaking of vaginas, we got the District Line by the London Riots. They go for the pin, but Nathan Cruz breaks it up. We got a beautiful power bomb into a spear combination by Michael Dante.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was nice. James Davis, like you said, brings in the cricket bat, swings it at Ligero, but Ligero ducks, and the bat hits Tommy End in the back of the head. Yep. And then Nathan Cruz rolls up Tommy End and gets the win. So the Origin, first ever 2-time tag champs in progress.
How about them?
And
one thing you didn't mention that I loved was right before the power bomb, Cruz slapped End and crap. You fucked up. Like, that was just good. Nathan Cruz, man, Tommy End, Malachi, Alistair, whatever. Like, I hope you get well and come back to our TV screens wherever, whenever. Because I said it a million times, and seeing this match again, like, we never even saw close to his potential in AEW. Unfortunately, like, I kept telling Bo, who'd never seen him, I'm like, this guy's one of the best wrestlers in the world, but we just haven't seen it really anything close to it. But
no, it was. He does. I mean, I've only seen a taste of his progress stuff, but him and Dante have a lot of great matches for the tag titles. So it's another. I saw
one of his WXW matches, I think, against AJ Styles, like in 2015, or that's like one of the big indie matches of his I've seen, and it was amazing as expected. But
him and Walter have a few matches over there, which is as you imagine, pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I miss him.
Yeah, he'll be back. He
will.
But so after the match, the Death Squad and the Riots brawl. Like, hey, mate, you cost me the match, yeah, isn't it? I assume that's what they're saying.
Yep.
Locker room empties to try to break them up, but then the Origin just kind of slunk out.
Yeah, I will say I liked the Origin again, just being the heels that they are, and now knowing that was the gimmick, and slinking out with the win, and then what happens in the next match. I'm all for it. I like it.
Yeah, this is a very Origin. The Origin won the show, I would say.
Oh yeah, big time.
We kind of mentioned this earlier, but yeah, like they Ligero and Cruz, their music's playing. You don't take my baby back. Yeah, it's
on the fucking road again.
And then it stops. And then it starts playing again because another Origin member.
I'm like, what is going on?
It's such a tedious song. It's like, oh god, we have to hear this 3-minute intro to this song again.
It reminds me of a much shittier version of Drew McIntyre's original theme. What was Broken Dreams or whatever it is. It reminds me of that, but just way worse.
Here I am, man.
On the road again. That's all I know.
And then we have another bald asshole coming out here.
Who I did not recognize. Obviously, I've seen him in NXT some, and before they turned into whatever the hell they are now. But yep, bald asshole part 2 here.
Got Zach Gibson out here versus Flash Morgan Webster. So this is so Flash Morgan Webster won the last Natural Progression series, but he has not cashed in his title match yet. So for whatever reason, he's putting it on the line here against Zach Gibson. And this is actually the rematch, or it's a rematch of the finals of that Natural Progression series. So that's where we're at here. And yeah, Webster out here. What do you think of Flash Morgan Webster? He has a stupid little face, but
I'm a fan. I like the pinstripe pants. Saw him in NXT UK. I think it was he and Andrews.
They were a tag team, yeah.
They faced off against like Riddle and Dunn, I think, and when they were the champs. Like that was the first time I think I'd seen him. I'm like, these motherfuckers can go.
Actually, funny enough, they won the titles from Zach Gibson and James Davis. Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, he does have a dumb little face. Man, he reminds me of that dude from Jackass. Now that the guy, I think he may have passed away. No, he didn't. That was Ryan Dunn. Anyway, there's a guy in Jackass. I can't remember his name that he kind of reminds me of. But anyway,
I think I know who you're talking about. I forget his name too. He's like a skinnier guy.
We're thinking about the same guy. I'll just figure it out.
I'll yell it randomly once I think of it.
Yeah, but he can fly. He can move around. Got some mat-based stuff in there too. Yeah, it's probably only like the 3rd or 4th match of his I've seen, but yeah, I like him.
What's a mod? Do you know what a mod is? He's the mod father. Because Flash Morgan, he's the mod father.
Oh,
like he's a mod.
Yeah, I missed that, and I don't know.
The transgender? Is he like modified?
I wish I knew.
Helmet, because he has a helmet with him. That probably comes from the place somewhere.
Yeah, he did have a helmet. Didn't
he? Big favorite helmeted wrestler. Go.
Shockmaster.
Farouk. Okay.
First one that came to mind.
I didn't think we were going to be able to. Apparently, there are a lot of helmeted wrestlers out there.
Karrion Kross.
That's what's going to cancel you right there.
And Farouk.
Yeah, Farouk Steph. Was he Farouk when he had a helmet?
I think he was like Farouk the something, maybe.
Farouk Assad, I think.
Yeah,
that last name.
Yeah. But yeah, there's your top 3 helmeted wrestlers.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll have a top 50 list the next episode.
There we go.
But fun match. Like Flash Morgan Webster, I like watching him wrestle. All of his like knees that he does, the moon.
Dave England is the guy's name from Jackass.
I didn't think we were actually going to figure it out, but man,
I looked there. Up.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, that is because big Dave England guy.
You get it.
We all get it. Dave England, he's the man.
We're in England here.
Look at. You're a professional. Like how we all scissor together and intertwine.
Yes.
And
I mean, it was just National Scissoring Day. So
yeah, it's always National Scissoring Day.
Happy Rusev Day, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Happy Rusev Day to you too.
Thank you very much. It's been a good one.
I'm happy to hear it. But no Rusev here, but we do got Zach Gibson here, and we got a DDT off the second rope by I believe Webster. Is one point where he does like a moon. They're on the outside, and Webster gets whipped into the barricade, which is like a step up, and there's like a railing there, and he moonsaults off of it. I like how they kind of utilize all of the ballroom.
That reminded me of some Lucha Underground. Yes. I don't know how, but just kind of going around and just finding whatever to jump off of.
Yeah, they have had like Will Ospreay did a moonsault off like the balcony at some point. So it's very Angelico-esque.
Yes. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah. So we got a top rope lung blower from Gibson for a 2, which looked absolutely brutal. Like
for sure. Yeah.
It caught him right under the chin. It looked like
he does a couple of them, doesn't he?
I think he does. Yeah. I'm looking at my notes. There's just so much happening here.
Yeah. It starts off a little slow before the moonsaults, and then once they get back in, it starts cooking for sure.
Yeah, because Gibson spends a lot of the match working on the arm because of his Shankly Gate submission, which is like a, I don't know, like an arm.
I heard him say key lock.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
Yeah.
That's
what I wrote.
If commentary said it, can't be wrong. Webster, eventually starts to fight back, hits an enziguri onto Gibson.
That was a nasty enziguri too.
Yes, because he had like the Shankly gates like in the ropes, and then he fought out with it, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
And then Gibson gets kicked, hangs. He's like sitting on the second rope. He hangs into the ring. Webster with a 450 onto Gibson as he's hanging on the ropes. Webster goes for a top rope Hurricane Rana, but Nathan Cruz comes out. Doesn't do anything, but he distracts.
Yeah, just steps out on the stage.
Big dumb face out there.
Yep.
And it's enough for Webster to get distracted. Gibson comes off the top rope with another lung blower.
This one was especially vicious too.
Yes, I think this is the one I was actually thinking of. Yeah, that was just a line drive of a knee to the face.
It really was.
It hits like a cradle brain buster of sorts. I bet on that one. I was like, oh, that's probably it. But no.
Yeah.
2 count. And then they trade roll-ups for a little bit.
Yep.
And eventually Gibson lands in the Shankly gates. Webster gets to the ropes, but Cruz, that dastardly piece
loved
of shit,
it. I loved
his
it.
foot off the ropes. Get out of here. Taps out.
Yeah.
Gibson wins the trophy.
Great finish again, I thought.
Yeah.
Just good heel tactics there. Yeah. It was Morgan Webster just couldn't believe it. Bloody nose.
Dude, that shot of Webster, it was like he was in the foreground and then the background's all blurry. You see the Origin all celebrating on the stage.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so
I
good.
loved it. And then Gibson was basically ripping on him for putting the shot up and that he never cashed it in. I thought that was all good stuff as well. And great points.
Yep, he's not wrong. Silly goose. But yeah, and Gibson says he ain't wasting any time. I guess the next chapter is in like a week.
Yeah, he did say next week. Yeah.
And I did take a peek at the next card, and it will be actually a triple threat match. It's the champion versus Zach Gibson versus Flash Morgan Webster. So apparently he still gets in there somehow.
Yeah, I guess Jim Smallman or whatever reviewed the tape, even though he's standing right out there ringside.
I mean, he could have missed it. He might have been on his phone or something. Like, nerds missed that one. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that one?
No. I mean, just a damn solid match with good heel work and just very entertaining stuff. Yeah, this show fucking ruled. Like there wasn't really a down point at all, other than the first half of the tag match, which was clearly intentional.
Right. Yeah. No, this is very, as far as like you said, there's no dead spots. Normally there's like one match.
Like even the comedy match was a ton of fun, as we talked about.
Could you imagine if that wasn't fun? Could you imagine if the crowd just like gave no reaction to condoms and
dildos up the ass,
gimps and
yeah.
They were with it though. But that brings us to the main event. We got the Progress title on the line.
Yep.
We got the challenger Mark Andrews versus the champion William Ospreay.
I'm going to talk about the entrance songs real quick.
Go for it.
Number one, Andrews. I was certain that it was Blink-182, but it's actually his own band, which is interesting. I figured you knew that. Yeah, called Junior. Mm-hmm. Good song. Definitely reminded me of Blink-182.
I think his WWE song, I believe, was his own band too.
Really? And speaking of Blink, I don't know if you saw or are a fan, but the original band is getting back together for a tour. That was big news coming out today. Yeah.
So my man stopped hunting aliens.
Yeah, I guess so. Was it Tom DeLonge or whatever?
Or maybe he found him. He's like, okay, I'm done, guys.
Yeah, we'll see. But and then seeing Ospreay come to fucking AC/DC, I thought was really funny too. Because I love his current entrance and music now. I think is perfect for him. So this was just really fun. Shoot the thrill.
Good old happy to be here, Will Ospreay. In hindsight, because I listened to your one of your recent episodes with Matt Ritter when you were talking about a couple New Japan matches, and you were talking about I think it was Ospreay versus Okada in the Climax finals, and you were actually bringing up like how Ospreay back in the day, you probably weren't as into him. Maybe his selling was a little weird, maybe more flippy. What were your thoughts on seeing late 2015 Ospreay?
Yeah, so this was even this didn't like he didn't piss me off or anything like that,
Mhm.
like he did in some of the early New Japan matches. Like I thought he was great here, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
you know, didn't seem any different than what I was used to seeing in those early New Japan days, but he was less annoying. So
Right.
I don't know why or when that started, that he just started overselling and screaming things, but I didn't notice it here.
Mhm.
And yeah, they did a lot of like mat work in the beginning, which you don't really see him do or wouldn't really see him do back then too much. I mean,
Right.
it felt like the first 5 minutes or so was a lot of like chain wrestling, and hell, both guys were pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he was as crisp as ever, and obviously more high flying here than he is now. The only like one little thing was, God, they did so many crazy moves in this, but like there was he had him up on the shoulder, and it was almost like the reverse of the Stormbreaker, where he tried to like flip him into a neck breaker, and he kind of
Mhm.
like just didn't bring him down cleanly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man, everything else was so crisp and good, and this match was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and kind of the backstory here, because I was kind of talking about it earlier. Like Will Ospreay versus Mark Andrews, they've had two previous matches. Both were within the first 10 chapters, I believe.
And
Definitely,
I caught the first one.
yes. The second one is absolutely worth a watch as well.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think, because it's a different circumstance from their earlier matches, so it's hard to
Mhm.
compare. But I mean, this one was right up there with them, I think.
Yeah.
And I do like the story, because Ospreay lost. Spoiler alert: he lost
Yeah.
both matches, and that's basically the premise. Because Mark Andrews left for TNA, which I don't know if he's
Mhm.
still a part of them or not, if he's just here like part time. But he
Yeah.
hasn't been in Progress for about a year or so.
Mhm.
So Andrews is here. He's like, "Hey, Ospreay, you've done a lot of good here in Progress. You beat Jimmy Havoc, but you haven't beaten me." So it's like, it's easy
Yeah.
story,
And
solid.
he's the Osprey's the champ now, having not beaten him before.
Yeah.
So
So it's like, prove that you're the real champ, you know?
Mark and I mean, both of these guys appeared to be fan favorites.
Yes.
Andrews especially. I mean, at least from what little I've seen now of Progress, like he kind of seems to be a lot of like the heart and soul.
Right. Yeah,
To me, at
Andrews
least.
Andrews does a lot of good stuff in Progress, because I've seen him in
Yeah.
NXT UK, and he's fine there. I thought a lot of stuff that him and Webster, him and Webster did as a tag team are probably the highlights of his
Yeah.
WWE run. But him as a
Agreed.
singles in Progress is definitely.
It's been awesome. Yeah, that Chris Hero match, which I think is chapter 30 now that I recall correctly. Like
Okay.
that match fucking ruled. So
I imagine.
yeah, I've become a much, much bigger Mark Andrews fan over the past 5 days.
Right. Better late than never, I
For
suppose.
however long ago you gave me your credentials, probably about a week. But
you're just gonna be.
speaking of which, have you checked out any Stardom yet?
I have not. I have
Yeah.
not yet. I will get into it as soon as I can.
There's a lot of wrestling out there.
I looked at your list and I was like, this all sounds delicious. You know,
Yeah, it is. It's tasty.
a little
but
soy
anyhow.
sauce on the side, but I got a half chub on that one, I think.
Hell yeah, brother.
Speaking of half chub, I was
Yeah.
full chub on this one. I'm gonna be honest.
So was I. I mean, after that first 5 minutes or so, like once they started getting it going, they never
Mhm.
really let up.
Well, even then, I think it seemed to me like the idea was like, because Andrews has had Ospreay's number the previous two matches, so it was like every time Ospreay tried to like lock in something, Andrews had a counter for it.
Yeah. It didn't bother me. It just obviously that's not what you came here to see.
Right. It's not what you expected, these two guys.
Yeah.
Ospreay hits this crazy Acai Phoenix splash to the outside, lands on his
Yeah.
feet,
Yeah.
hurts his knee. I don't know if that was like a real injury, or if not, if they were just that was the idea they were trying to get over. It's like, oh, I hit a move, but I hurt myself. I really can't beat this guy, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in the ring, yeah, it's just the craziness starts. I mean, Andrews hits like a double revolution.
I've noted
tornado
that. I'm like,
DDT.
I've never seen that move before. And the
Nuts.
announcers even said it, like, you're on every Progress show, you'll see something you've never seen before. And that I had never seen. Yeah, the double revolution DD satellite DDT.
Yes, correct.
And then I read, and business has picked up.
Yeah, pal. Tougher than a $2 steak, some may say. What would you think of the Essex Destroyer?
Man, awesome. And it's like, why doesn't he do that anymore?
It seems very scary to do. I'll
Well,
be
yeah,
honest.
I guess
Well, not for him.
that's
but,
a great point. Yeah, it is. I mean, the second one, well, and then Andrews hits him with one later. That
Yeah,
was great.
it's
But I'm like, wow, that move fucking rules. I still don't even know what it is exactly. It
a
happens
flipping
so fast.
DDT is the
Yeah.
only way you can describe it. It's
Yeah.
it's nuts. But
Yeah.
amongst that, we got a Ospreay hits his crazy handspring kick, nails it right on the button. There's this one point where Ospreay has Andrews up in like a blackout position, like over his shoulders. He like tosses him up. Andrews
Unreal.
counters into a poison Rana and then hits a West Coast.
Slingshot poison Rana is what I got here.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Just a lot of landing right on the dome in this match.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other spots stick out to you towards the end here?
I mean, that was obviously big, and then it was followed by a Dragon Rana, which was kind of just like your typical Rey Mysterio one with a lot of torque and speed.
West Coast pop.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
And then I liked, and the announcers referenced it about how, you know, the man who wins the match might be the first one that gets to the top rope. And you saw both guys like reaching at each other's legs to prevent that. So I thought
like
that was really well done. And kudos to the announcers for picking up on that. So I already mentioned that spot, the weird swinging neck breaker that was kind of missed, but then a beautiful shooting star press by Ospreay, and then an insane Spanish fly by Andrews. Then you have Andrews hitting the Essex Destroyer.
I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was gonna ever take his own move.
No. And then what was it? He went for the shooting star into Ospreay's knees, and then the 630. Which, holy shit, I'd never seen him do that before, because I don't think he ever did it in New Japan.
Yeah, it's been a while if he has. I don't know if he ever, because he was, that was like his super finisher, because there was for a while, so the running storyline with him, because it was on one of the earlier shows, he hurt his neck doing it, because how couldn't you?
Yeah.
So he was kind of like gun shy on doing it, like he couldn't pull the trigger, and then when he finally did is when he beat Jimmy Havoc for the title. So that was
very nice.
Thread here.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that was
like
unbelievable. And again, perfectly executed.
Yeah.
And then picked him up immediately into the Essex Destroyer. 1, 2, 3. Whew. I don't know if I like this. I don't know.
Right? Am I right or am I wrong, gang?
You are right, baby. I don't know what. Let me ask you a question. What's
3
your
inches
match?
flat? What?
What's your match of the night?
Whew. Oh man. Let's see here. I mean, the main event is definitely up there.
For me, it's either that or Ciampa Skrull. I don't. It's tough.
Ciampa Skrull. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to the main event here. But I mean, it's if I gave this a 9, I gave Ciampa Skrull an 8.7. So like,
I think so too. Both are probably. I've gotten into the whole star ratings bullshit, and I'm a maniac about it. I think I told you, but I'd probably put both around the 4.5 star range in my book.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like per second, I mean, Rampage and Walter was good.
Fucking for real, yeah.
Maybe a longer match between those two for sure.
Yeah, that was. 8 minutes, and they did a lot of shit. Yeah, I mean, again, there was no. I mean, I would say the worst match, for lack of a better term, was probably Paul Robinson and Mark Haskins. And like as we were talking about it, I think I learned I liked it more than I thought I did.
Yeah. I mean,
fucking bald asshole.
That's about to say, yeah. If nothing else, seeing that guy get how'd he lose? Yeah, get his arm ripped off. Yeah.
But just like I said, what a show, top to bottom. Even like going through the card and not knowing who some of the guys were, and like Andrews and Haskins, like barely knowing who they were.
Right.
Yeah, this was a home run. I'm curious, like how this show stacks up against the previous 22.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, they're all pretty consistent. Like there's no like really bad shows, and there might be a few. If I really thought about it, there might be certain shows I might put above this one. But yeah, Progress in this era, because I haven't seen their later stuff, but I've heard it kind of tapers off, probably aligning with
after everyone goes to NXT UK and speaking out and all that stuff.
Combination of things. So but until then, got a lot of good stuff. You got Walter's rise, you got British Strong Style coming in, Pete Dunne becomes a big deal at some point and all that stuff. So
yeah,
pretty much NXT UK at some point.
I mean, for real, it is a lot of the same guys, but this was a treat indeed.
Well, I mean, the show was great, but not enough brain busters for my liking. But speaking of which,
Nice
If
segue.
you're into that kind of thing, you might want to go check out the Brainbuster Boys. First of all, Brett, thank you for checking out the show, coming on.
Absolutely.
Talking about
you are
it.
now going to be in my bedtime rotation, baby.
Well, that makes me feel things. But where can
Hopefully
everybody? What?
Hopefully I can feel your things too.
That's what my wife tells me. But go ahead and tell everybody where everybody can find you, listen to you, go up your testicles,
dear.
and slap your ass.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you again for having me. This was a blast. You can find us at Brainbuster Boys on Twitter and Instagram, even though I never post on Instagram and need to be better about it. Pretty, decently active on Twitter. And then you can find us on all major podcast platforms under Brainbuster Boys, or we are also on the Visionaries Global Media Network as well. But yeah, that is that. We just had our episode reviewing Extreme Rules, which was unique because we don't talk a lot of WWE, but
Right.
I'm locked in now for the first time in 4 years. I had walked away and Triple H brought me back in.
Yeah, they're doing some good stuff over there. Yeah, not enough Chinese people over there yet. But
well, we definitely got some ideas coming out of this. That's for sure.
Yeah, your offshoot podcast, the Pearl Harbor Boys, coming soon to
best jeans and helmeted wrestlers.
We gotta have a whole scrum meeting after this to organize all of these, because
I was gonna say I know you're going through them, but I'm always happy to come back anytime you need a progress boy.
A progress boy?
I had nothing else. I had nothing else there. I'm like, no, I have a progress boy. How about a progress pimp?
Once again, thank you to Brett from the Brainbuster Boys podcast for joining me on today's program, talking a little progress wrestling. Go check out the Brainbuster Boys podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. They do great work over there, so go give them some support. Follow them on all the socials, all that in the description. Follow me on all my socials as well. All of that in the description below. Apron bump across the board will probably get you to where you need to go. If not, go to apronbump.com, peruse the site, follow me everywhere, rate the podcast, review the podcast, buy a shirt, twiddle my nipples, call me Betsy, do all of those things in that order, and we'll be just dandy, all right? I think that about wraps it up. Am I yelling? I'm sorry. I don't know why I yell, but that's about all Daddy has for you today. Thank you guys once again for listening. Love you all. Appreciate you all. If I could shake all of your hands, I would. But for now, we'll just do this. Hopefully that'll get some traffic to the YouTube. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day, or a shitty day, whatever you would like to have. I'm hard.
Yeah.
And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started. It's the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started.